Are you fascinated by the paranormal and want to hear about encounters that have happened to real-life people in real-life places? Do you need a drink to calm those nerves after hearing some scary stories?
You're listening to Booze and Bourbon.
Well, we invite you to grab a drink, whether it's a coffee or something with a little bit more spirit in it. Grab a blanket, snuggle in, because I'm Kim and that's Jen, and we're Booze and Bourbon.
Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen. We are back for some excitement. This is Booze and Bourbon. I can't do it. I really tried.
That was so good. I was back here trying not to laugh my ass off.
Yeah, I was trying to go with my, best impression there, but it just wasn't working. I started to laugh and ruined it. But,
Hi, Jen.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back.
How the heck are you doing today?
Oh, just fantastical, Kim. How are you?
I'm good. We've spoken a couple of times today. I know that you're doing well, but there is something that you briefly spoke about that I was wondering if maybe you could get into a little bit more detail.
Yes, certainly. Why not?
Perhaps a house ghost?
And this is the first time, it wasn't even me that actually got to witness it and or hear it this time. So that's why it was a little bit more interesting, I guess.
And you got to talk about the hour.
Yeah, so that's the part. That's the creepy part. So it probably would have been both said around 3, somewhere either just before 3-ish.
A.M.
A.M., yes, sorry. So both others in the home here, besides myself, who apparently was in a very deep sleep, thought that the other was up walking around up here with shoes on because my floors A are very squeaky, and B, on the hardwood, you can easily tell when somebody is wearing shoes.
And just to confirm, your dog was with you.
He was downstairs, but they knew it wasn't the dog.
He was downstairs. Okay.
Yeah. They knew it wasn't him because it sounded like 2 feet, not 4 little scrapey nail feet. You can tell the difference from the human feet. So anyway, they both thought that the other was up walking around, and they were like, what is going on? Like, why are you up right now? And then this morning, obviously when we all spoke, and they were like, no, I didn't get up. And then she was like, no, I didn't get up. And then we're like, great. So there was just, Sharon or Robert up here just...
Oh my God. Why at 3 though? That's the thing that gets me.
I know, because they haven't done that in a while. Or maybe we just didn't notice, but it's been a while since, because that used to be the situation with the puppy back like when Lou was a puppy, that he would wake me up around 2 to 3 and bark and go on and on. So.
Yeah. And I almost feel like we should, if you really, really want to know, I almost feel like we should set up cameras, or like your dad has trail cams. So I feel like we should do that.
Good idea. Yes.
You and I have both been watching the Conjuring House live feed, which goes on until Saturday. I don't know if maybe today is the last day, but it goes on for a week. It started last Saturday, and it's pretty freaking good because they're trying all these different ghost hunting experiments.
New tactics.
Oh, yes. It's so good. So, Jen, maybe we need to do a live stream of your house.
Maybe.
Oh, boy.
Something to look into here.
Absolutely. So today is a really cool show. I'm not sure if you've seen the previews for it or not, but there's a TV network called Shudder TV. And it's completely dedicated to horror and paranormal. And it has an ad that's for a documentary that they've done about this topic specifically. So that was obviously an inspiration for me to do this episode. But the tipping point was the Conjuring House live stream. This is obviously the home that was the subject of the movies, The Conjuring. Mm-hmm. So it, too, apparently is a cursed film, as lead actress Vera Farmiga, I hope I'm saying that right, who plays Lorraine Warren, has had a couple of paranormal experiences when she was done filming. Her laptop allegedly and mysteriously showed digital claw marks one day when she opened up her computer. And she also revealed some photos and interviews of what appeared to be claw marks on her thigh.
Ooh.
Yeah, so we've got some stories to tell you later of some more horror movies being haunted. And for the bourbon today, I'm going with a little original gangsta.
Oh.
This one we love, which is Weller Antique 107.
Ooh.
So thank you again to Canadian Whiskey Corner for introducing us to this lovely candy maple spicy wonder majestic beast.
I can't wait to not be social distancing so I can come join you for that.
I know. It's going to be so lovely when we can actually be in the same room and record videos together. And the videos I find really hard to do without you, Jen.
I mean, we see what happened when I tried I tried to make my own and it's just not the same.
They're cute, though.
Me on the toilet, that was different. It was different.
Oh, so special.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to sit here and sip and wonder if maybe you'd like to play a little game with me.
Yeah. Yeah, I would. I would actually very much so like to do that.
All right. You want to play Would You Rather?
Yes, please.
Do you want to go first?
Certainly.
Okay.
So based on what we were kind of just talking about, this is a situational question as well. Would you rather... I should have started by saying that you're already in a haunted house. So,
oh, geez. Okay.
Would you rather have known that prior? And we also have camera set up. So you are aware and you get to watch the footage back.
Okay.
Or you're not aware and you don't watch any footage. So you have completely no idea that you're in a haunted house and you don't have to watch anything. So it's either it, could be bad and then obviously, or it may not be. It's hard to say. Or would you rather just know and watch the videos?
I don't think I'd want to know. I sent you a clip of the Conjuring House and the girl who, the woman who owns it, I don't know if her name's Jen or Jan or something like that. But anyway, she was talking and in the interview, and clearly there was a shadow person that ducked in the doorway behind her and then got startled and moved back. And I was thinking about this the whole time. I'm like, if I were her, would I actually want to see the video or would I just want to continue on? But she seems pretty comfortable with everything. So kudos to her, but I don't think I could do it. What would you do?
I don't know. I'm such a sucker for I always want to see stuff happen. But then at the same time, then when it does happen, I'm like, I wish I didn't see that or that I could have unseen that or didn't know. But
right.
I don't know.
Okay. All right.
I feel like I just like to know. I just like to know. I just like to see it.
I don't know. I don't think I could do it. Especially if I was staying in there for an extended period of time.
Yes. You're stuck there for quite a bit.
Me?
Yeah.
All right. So my question for you is, would you rather be haunted by a ghost that resembles the nun? And let me tell you, every time that I see a clip of the nun, it shakes my soul. It scares me. So would you rather be haunted by her and every time you see her, you feel a euphoric high and it's a good feeling? Or would you rather see the ghost of Marilyn Monroe and every time you see her, you shit yourself?
What? So you used one of my favorite people against me so that I will force myself to shit myself. Damn it, Kim. I mean, I don't know how I'd have a euphoric happy feeling seeing the nun because she is heinous. So
I know, but imagine it was you ate the best dosage of an edible or you had the best drunk before you crossed that gray line. It was a super good feeling every time you saw her.
I mean, I love Marilyn Monroe. She's all over my house. I have
yes.
probably.
Imagine if you pooped yourself every
time
you
I go in a room, I'd shit myself. I mean, I guess I should just like wear a bucket around my waist and let it hang around the back, and then this is how I'm gonna live my life. So,
oh my god.
So guys,
living your best life.
I'm gonna wear a house coat, I'm gonna take a belt, and I'm gonna strap a bucket to it, and that's how it's gonna work, I guess. So yeah.
Jennifer Taylor, you never cease to amaze me.
Well, you gotta do what you gotta do, right? I can't take the pictures down. They're staying up there, so.
Well, guys, just after the break, we're gonna get into today's main topic, which is all about cursed horror films. Stay tuned.
As mentioned previously, we're going to get into some crazy-ass stories. Cursed horror movies, if you will. We'll start with one that is a little monumental. One of my favorites. This movie was crazy when it first came out in 1979. But then, this was kind of that one movie that the dad was hot, which only added fuel to the fire of loving the paranormal. We also realized that Ryan Reynolds was really sculpted and super hot in that movie. But anyways.
Yes, exactly.
It very much helped.
Yes.
Let's talk about the original version, the Amityville Horror, 1979. Inspired by a true story that has been the subject of controversy and much legal drama, the Amityville Horror is based on the paranormal experiences of the Lutz family after moving into a reportedly haunted house on 112 Ocean Avenue in Amityville, New York. Prior to moving into the Dutch colonial with ocular windows, previous resident Ronald DeFeo Jr. shot and killed his entire family. The Lutz claim that they were forced out of the home by an evil entity that terrorized them. A popular book was written, which was adapted for film in 1979. The ghostly aura surrounding the real-life tale pervaded the set, but much of that has been dismissed as invention to drum up publicity. Star James Brolin, who didn't believe in the Lutz's story, experienced a fright while studying the novel for the film. Initially hesitant to take the part, he agreed to do it after his pants fell from their hanger, causing him to jump and nearly crash his head through the ceiling.
Well, I don't know if I'd necessarily call that a curse as much as maybe a blessing, because even back in the 70s, it was a good movie. Plus, It's a great story anyway.
It is.
Also one of my favorites for sure. So let me tell you about the newer version with Ryan Reynolds in 2005. So a week before filming was set to begin, the body of a dead fisherman actually washed up on the set. And furthermore, while shooting the movie, the crew reported waking up at 3:15 each night, which is interesting because this was the exact same time that the real DeFeo murders took place. Yeah.
Interesting.
Creepy.
Well, moving on to another. The Possession. Did you watch this one?
Yes.
Okay, good. The Possession, which came out in 2012. This film about a cursed Dybbuk box that attaches itself to a young girl made believers out of the cast in the afterlife. Lights began to explode unexpectedly, and freezing drafts began to pass through otherwise closed sets, only when important scenes were being filmed. In addition to all of this, a storage facility holding all the props for the film caught fire and burned down. When the fire was investigated, no cause for it could be deduced. Since the Dybbuk box is a real item, the owner of the real Dybbuk box offered to bring it to the set, but the cast and crew were so frightened by the weird happenings that they refused to let it come near them.
That's interesting. I don't know. That Dybbuk box is pretty creepy.
Yeah.
It just kind of like, I don't know why it makes me think of it, but I watched The Lighthouse this past week, which was filmed here in Nova Scotia when I actually met Robert Pattinson.
Oh, yes.
And in the picture that I have with him, it's really hilarious because I caught him staring at my butt. And so then when he was standing in the lobby of the hotel, I was like, you don't just get a free butt look. Like, now I need to ask you for a photo kind of thing. So I did, and he was super like friendly and nice or whatever. But in the photo, he looks like he's about to cry. and from after watching the movie, I found out that he would like literally beat himself up to go through some like really like crazy scenes to get emotionally charged.
Oh.
And so he would like throw his fingers down his throat to gag, and he would like hit himself in the face, and he'd like spin around in circles and scream at the top of his lungs. And they used really old camera equipment, and that's probably why everything kept failing. But there was one scene in particular where they had to get Rob like in April, May. So cold, frigid Atlantic waters, had to get him to go in the water like 25 times in this one scene because the cameras kept malfunctioning. So I wonder if that's a curse or if it's just a clash of old camera equipment and water. I mean,
hard to
probably
say.
the latter, but
Yeah.
anyway. Yeah, so then we also have an article from a website called Pop Sugar, and the article is called The True Story Behind the Omen, which was filmed in 1976. The trouble ignited before the film even began production. The perceived catalyst was the tragic suicide of lead actor Gregory Peck's son, who had shot himself in the head in 1975, just 2 months before the first days on set. When Peck flew to London for the role, his plane was struck by lightning. A few weeks later, executive Mark Newfield boarded a flight from LA. His plane was also struck by lightning, and he referred to the experience as the roughest 5 minutes I've ever had on an airliner.
That's a lot.
I know. So still, production on The Omen lurched forward, and Bernhard began wearing a cross on set. At one point, the team had hired a small plane for some aerial filming, but the vessel was switched over to another client at the last minute. The plane reportedly crashed on takeoff, killing everyone on board.
Oh, man.
More ominous circumstances seemed to plague the production. Newfield, whose plane had already been struck by lightning, was staying at the London Hilton with his wife. The building was bombed by the Irish Republican Army in September of that year. As filming rolled on, so did the disasters. One particularly chilling zoo scene had a group of wild baboons reacted violently to Damien's presence. According to director Richard Donner, Damien's mother, played by actress Lee Remick, was legitimately terrified while filming the sequence. For the safety of the cast and crew, the animal trainer had been brought on to deal with the baboons involved in the scene. He was killed the day after we shot there. He was killed by a tiger.
Oh.
He grabbed him by the head and killed him instantly. Even after the film was finished, the curse seemed to live on, following those involved with it and inflicting them with unspeakable tragedy. The film's initial release was an obvious choice because it was June 6th of 1976 or 06/06/76.
Mm-hmm.
In August of that year, a special effects genius named John Richardson got in a terrible car accident. He was in the Netherlands working on a Richard Attenborough A Bridge Too Far film. In terms of The Omen, Richardson had executed a particularly gruesome decapitation scene. Richard had survived his car accident in Holland, but his passenger assistant Liz Moore hadn't been so fortunate. She had been decapitated. According to local reports, a sign in the vicinity clocked the distance to a nearby town called Omen, and that's Omen with 2 M's, and it was 66.6 kilometers away.
What?
Yep. One of the film's stuntmen, Alf Joint, also went to work on A Bridge Too Far. He wound up in the hospital after one of his stunts went wrong. In one sequence, he was simply meant to jump from a roof to an airbag. But he seemed to fall abruptly and strangely. When he woke up in the hospital, he claimed he had been pushed by something. And what became of Harvey Stevens, the young boy who portrayed Damien? It seemed that he had completely vanished. Back in 2001, AMC premiered a 90-minute documentary called The Omen Legacy. The piece rehashed many of the aforementioned stories and included interviews with the original cast and crew. Stevens was nowhere to be found. I saw him 9 years ago, Bernhard said at the time. He was handsome and a wonderful boy. He was tall and he was rather beautiful. It was the only picture he ever made. Kevin Burns, an executive producer for the special, even went as far as to hire a private investigator to get a hold of the former actor. I think Kevin Burns is the same guy that does The Curse of Oak Island.
Really?
Yeah. Anyway, he said, I'm sure he's still around out there. We really tried to find him. But it turns out that Stevens wasn't missing. He returned to acting in 2006, right back to where his career started. So he played a small role on the remake of The Omen, which starred Julia Stiles and Liv Schreiber, and was released on 06/06/06.
Ugh.
As far as we know, nothing out of the ordinary happened during the production of that reboot.
That shit is crazy.
I know.
That's a whole lot. Like, that seems like a lot. Like, maybe you should never make that movie again and never have any sequels.
Ever.
Just stop it.
Just stop.
Yeah. All right. So, on to one of my favorites. I'm going to cover The Conjuring in a little more detail.
Lovely.
You would think the real-life story of the Perron family being attacked by a sinister demon would be creepy enough. But the 2013 film The Conjuring about the demonologist couple, the Warrens, that took the horror to a new level. Director James Wan was working on a shooting script in his home when his dog began to go crazy, barking and yelping at an unseen force in the corner of his office. She would just be growling away, and she would just be tracking whatever this thing is across my office, just looking at it, following it. She did this many nights in a row, and it just freaked me out. When script supervisors would call the actual Warrens to discuss one of their 4,000 cases, their phone calls would be interrupted. According to sources, whenever someone would speak to the Warrens, their call would be interrupted by angry, static voices. And as Kim mentioned before, according to the film star Vera Farmiga, she had her own instances with the claw marks, but also the script would give her the creeps so much she would refuse to take it home with her. Add in the element of a haunted doll to this film, and no wonder the cast and crew to this film all felt so haunted.
No wonder. Exactly. Holy smokes. Now we're going to get into The Poltergeist, which was filmed in my birth year.
Yes.
What? 1982.
Get it?
Where to begin with this iconic horror film that was cursed from the start? Legend has it that the problems on The Poltergeist began when the film crew decided to use actual skeletons instead of fake ones during filming. After that, the curse continued with both actresses who played sisters in the first film, and they had died under terrible circumstances. Dominique Dunn was strangled by her boyfriend only 6 months after completing the first film, while Heather O'Rourke died during the filming of Poltergeist 3 due to an infection caused by a bowel blockage. The curse didn't stop there, though. According to actress Jo Beth Williams, she would return from the set each day to find pictures of her and her family askew on the walls, and no matter how often she fixed them, they would always have shifted by the time she returned home. So, lesson learned, if you don't want your film to be haunted, maybe you should spring for the plastic skeletons.
Well, now on to The Exorcist.
Eek.
1973. Perhaps the mother of all cursed film sets, The Exorcist holds up today as being one bloodbath of a film. During productions, no less than 9 people died.
Oh my God, I did not know that.
9. Okay. Putting those horrific deaths aside, a fire started in the home where most of the film takes place, halting production for 6 weeks. In addition to that, the star of the film, Linda Blair, had a mental breakdown and suffered permanent injuries to her spine after a harness helping to pull her around a bed during a possession scene snapped.
Oh my God.
Things escalated so much that director William Friedkin actually called his own exorcist to bless the film set and put the cast and crew at ease.
Okay, so you're telling me that the director had his own exorcist?
Yeah, like, okay, so maybe...
Let me just go through my Rolodex here and find the exorcist I need to call him.
Yeah, here we are.
Okay.
Making this movie, but yet... we need one ourselves as well. Thank you.
Well, I've got a little story here about another exorcism type movie, which is The Exorcism of Emily Rose, shot back in 2005. According to the lead actress of this demonic possession film, Jennifer Carpenter, her radio would turn on each night playing the same Pearl Jam song, Alive, over and over. I don't know why that just gave me like goosebumps up and down my back, but it did. So it seems creepy enough, right? Except the radio kept repeating the line, I'm alive, I'm alive, I'm alive, in succession, making us think that Carpenter probably should have dropped the film and immediately bathed in holy water.
Yeah, that's not a good sign at all. No.
No, because radio doesn't skip.
No. And I mean, nothing against Pearl Jam, but I mean, that song, like, that's a weird song to pick unless you're really trying to make a point, you know?
Yikes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so on to a movie that neither of us have actually seen, but this will be our next movie date. We'll watch this just so that we can put it on the list.
Good old 1994. What was I doing in 1994?
Not watching The Crow.
No, I was probably crimping my hair and listening to New Kids on the Block.
Absolutely hanging tough. Okay. So, The Crow, as you mentioned, came out in 1994. This film, starring Bruce Lee's son, Brandon Lee, was cursed by accidents on set from the start. During filming, a carpenter was severely burned after the crane he was on struck power lines. Also, before the film was even released, it was a pop culture phenomenon due to its star, Brandon Lee, being killed during filming. During a scene in which involved a shootout, a rubber bullet dislodged from the gun being used and struck Lee in the stomach, killing him. That is a horrible thing. Like, you finally got your role in a movie and then you end up dying on set from a rubber bullet.
Yeah, that's not good at all. That's intensely tragic.
I didn't know that was Bruce Lee's son either. I missed that part.
All right. Well, we sincerely hope you guys enjoyed that episode. It covers some of our favorite movies and ones that I'm too pussy to watch by myself.
Tell us one, Kim. Which is the one? Which is the one that you'd be most scared to watch by yourself?
I would probably have to say
They're all kind of up
The
there.
Exorcist or The Exorcism of Emily Rose, because anything to do with like demonic stuff really gets
Possession?
me. It's so scary to me. Yes. Yeah. And you?
Well, I mean, I love The Conjuring, and I do also love Amityville. But I feel like I'd probably be with you on that one because I didn't like Emily Rose was a little disturbing. And The Exorcist, of course, is a classic, but also disturbing. I think like anything with, like you said, like the possession is kind of like where it pushes it a little over the line where you're like, that's a little extra creepy.
Yeah. Stuff that I really don't want to mess with. Well, guys, if you want to tell us what your favorite horror stories are and what really pushed you over the edge and made you wonder if perhaps your own life was cursed or if anybody from the crew's life was cursed, please email us at boozeandbourbon@gmail.com. We love hearing from you guys. We've had some new listeners write some fantastic recommendations for us on Facebook. So thank you from the bottom of our hearts. We greatly appreciate that. Jen, if people want to find us on social media and they don't know where to find us, where can they find us?
We were actually on TMZ today. I don't know if you noticed that, Kim, but
No.
It was a new release. An old picture of both of us, but we looked good, so it was fine.
Was it that time that we were like replicating the Paris Hilton getting out of the limo situation?
Oh, yes, it was actually. You hit it right on the head there. Well, we're Insta famous, so we are Booze and Bourbon, yes, on Instagram and Facebook. On there, we are Booze and Bourbon, the podcast. And Twitter, we don't really use our Twitter, but we're on there.
We're on there, yeah, just for shits and giggles. And if you guys want to find more of our podcasts, but you just kind of stumbled across this one, then you can basically subscribe to us anywhere you find podcasts. So that's Spotify, that is Stitcher, iHeartRadio, all those places, Apple, Google, blah, 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 blah. And we want to take this moment to give a little shout out to our lovely Patreon supporters. And If you want to become a Patreon supporter, you can go to patreon.com/booze and bourbon, where you'll find videos and you'll find some information about what's coming out for the next episode. And right now I'm like desperately trying to find some like giveaways for our patrons. So I haven't decided yet whether it is like magnets or beer cozies, but somebody drop us a line and let us know what you're looking for.
Perhaps I will even part with one of my many, perhaps haunted Marilyn Monroe pictures or a mirror in my house.
Oh my God.
Does anybody want a mirror? Because I have many.
Don't get some people started. They might jump on that, Jen.
Hey, I'm up for the challenge. If somebody wants to take it and see if something happens, I'm all for it.
Okay.
There's multiples.
And we all know that Canada Post works during this COVID-19 time.
Sure do.
Oh my God. Well, guys, we will be back next Friday for a brand new episode. You are not going to want to miss it. It is a fantastic topic that Jen has been creating for quite some time because we haven't recorded it yet. Sorry, Jen.
Right. And because, I can't leave out my future ex-husband, and he might be part of the episode.
Right.
So,
right. Future ex-husband. I love it.
Yes.
You don't even know him yet, and you're already stacking him up to be a future ex.
Just in case.
Fair enough.
Okay.
Well, guys, thank you so much for listening today. And like I said, we'll be back next Friday. So stay spooky and stay hydrated, and we'll see you then.
Thanks, guys.
Bye-bye.
Booze and Bourbon is part of the ABV network. For more information or to advertise on the show, please head over to abvnetwork.com. Thanks for listening, and cheers.
This has been a Steve Akeley production.